Would you rather not be a superhero in these days? Do you know you are already amazing? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. And in this episode, I want to talk to you about courage and perseverance and resilience.
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
In this age of skepticism, I think there's a kind of a new courage coming on, or maybe not a new definition. Courage is courage, but another way to look at it. Do you feel like you are, or you don't know the difference between persevering for something important versus being stuck on a hamster wheel that just goes around and around and around? How do you know the difference? How do you know when you're moving forward, or when you are bravely not moving forward? So from the perspective of your soul, you're already amazing. You have surmounted the challenges to move from the spirit world to be in this world. You have stepped into being a spirit in a human body. And from your soul's perspective, that's a miracle, and that's amazing. You're still breathing, you're still going forward, you're still learning and growing, and you're still in it. And this is, first of all, check for you. Good for you. And I know that we are all doing the best we can with whatever we have, wherever we are. And that's the best we can really expect from ourselves to keep moving forward. And that takes courage. The Cambridge Dictionary, or any dictionary, defines courage as the ability to control your fear in a dangerous, difficult situation. Courage is not the absence of fear, rather it's doing what's right in the presence of fear. Cor, C-O-R, in fact, is Latin for heart. So courage is doing what is in your heart, acting upon what really matters, even though fear is present. I often think of the modern day hero as somebody who stays heart-centered and continues to choose actions that are based in the highest best, that are heart-centered. Resilience is what allows us to go through difficult times and to keep on going. Courage is what enables us to do what matters in our lives, but courage is encouraged and supported by our own inner resilience. We deeply know we have the ability to get through it. We are more confident about acting courageously and doing what matters, even though we know, we feel, and we know, and we can see down the road that it's hard. I feel like resilience has to do a lot with faith, has a lot to where you're fueling up your spirit, your human self, and your spirit and your human body. You're going to source to fuel yourself up. Faith and trust in a higher power really speaks to resilience, and resilience speaks to being courageous. Spiritual courage and perseverance, they're talking about your inner strength and your determination to face challenges and difficulties on your spiritual journey. People often draw on faith and belief to endure hardships. And hardships, there's so many different levels of hardships, so many different experiences of hardships. And I feel like this episode is about giving you pep talk about being courageous in your life, sticking to your spiritual path, and also your own integrity of who you are in your journey as a spirit in a human body, and in your integrity of aligning your choices in your life, your regular choices in your daily life, and have it be aligned with the good for your spirit, good for your soul, aligned with your soul's progress. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of awareness, and it takes discipline and perseverance to keep going on on that pathway. So I in this episode, I want to really kind of give you a pep talk. Stick with it. Stick with it. Um, People often draw on faith and belief to endure hardships. Especially if they're pursuing a higher purpose, a higher calling, and hanging in there even when the doldrums, even though we mentioned being on that hamster wheel over and over and over again. Am I moving forward? How do I know if I'm moving forward? This just feels like I'm stuck in this action. I'm stuck in this movement that's not moving me to any particular place. It can feel like that, being on a spiritual journey, meditating or trying to do the right thing or pick the right thing, or what is the highest and best? I don't even know anymore. I've lost track of it. Let me go back to connect with my soul, to connect with spirit and say, where am I? Where are my feet pointing? And is this where I was guided to be? Checking in on your guidance continuously needs to be part of the discipline of persevering in a situation when you're not quite sure where you're going with this. I feel like courage, being depressed or discouraged or having an illness and still getting up, breathe, even just continuing to breathe and getting up and doing your life anyway as best you can, takes courage, and it takes discipline, and it takes perseverance, and that resilience, which it stems from faith, from your inner strength, is what's needed in those cases. And that is a miraculous movement on your part. So I feel like we need to take a little bit of a reality check, not a perspective check, but a reality check on giving yourself credit for where you've been, what you're doing, and where you are going, and through and creating that pathway forward through your clairvoyance, through your visions with your soul, through your relationship with the source. I feel that courage, when it has to be on a daily basis, when it's not just facing down the tiger, courage to stay the course. What's going to fuel you or really help you is a gratitude practice, which may include writing a gratitude journal, is to look and what you have accomplished, or look at where you are, or look at what's sustaining you, what's nurturing you, and being grateful for that's in your life. We're living in, most of us that I'm talking to right now, including myself, are living in the first world. We have amazing technology. We have amazing resources that, say, somebody in the third world, in another side of the globe, don't have. So being this isn't a guilt trip. This is a gratitude moment of saying, what resources do I really have on hand that I am not, that I'm taking advantage of or taking for granted, and I'm not really looking at them from a place of nurturing, from a place of perseverance that's going to help fuel my courage to move forward and some of my new thinking. Sometimes our pathways, our spiritual pathways, are simply about shifting out of an old perspective into a new perspective. And we want to measure ourselves. Are we moving forward on this spiritual path? Are we moving forward on from being, I'll just make this up, from being a victim, maybe growing up in a very difficult family situation, to moving towards being free from that victimization, to being sovereign, to being independent from all those stuck energies that hold us back. And that's a courageous path. That's actually one of the most important paths to take, as we talked last episode of 2005 is a 9-year where we have to let go and complete things. Moving from, say, for instance, a victim point of view towards a sovereign individual point of view takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of discipline, and you got to keep on going, because it's about perspective and shifting your mindset, shifting your beliefs, even when we don't know what else could we be thinking, what else is there, because it's so easy to fall back into that victim mentality. It's comfortable there. We know what the rules are, and especially if you've been part of violent actions, or you've been victim to a mental torture, mental abuse. We develop belief systems, we develop patterns, and we develop a perspective of always staying at a certain viewpoint in life, so that we only see what the pain is, we only see where the danger is, or we only see where, oh yeah, she's going to pull that on me again, or he's going to do this. And but we're always in that perspective a victim. We're always watching out. We're not sovereign yet. We're not individual yet. So when we say, I don't want to be a victim anymore, we need to pull on helpers. We need to pull on community that's going to support us. Possibly mental health care workers or behavioralists, or following a spiritual pathway where our intuition has built ourselves so we can hear spirit talking, guiding us. Maybe we don't hear him talking to us like we're sitting with the conversation, but we are aware of the spiritual support. We are aware of the spiritual guidance that says, no, don't go there, not yet, don't think this, stop. And we want to go forward because that's what we do automatically. And our guidance is saying, and we're trusting our guidance to say, stop, don't get yourself involved in that anymore. Just watch and learn, because your perspective is feeding into your beliefs of what's happening right now. And we, your guides, want you to shift that perspective. So if you go and do the same old, you won't shift your perspective. So it takes courage and persistence and discipline to learn to listen to your guides, follow your higher guidance, or your therapeutic guidance from somebody who's a healer that's you're seeing, and to say, okay, I'm going to trust this and stop and not interact and not perceive the way that I used to. But the thing of it is, you don't know what else is there. It's a blank. There's nothing familiar about it. So it's a little bit panicky. And the courage is staying in the process of getting your thoughts unstuck so that you can move forward and give yourself new choices, new thoughts, new awareness. And that takes a lot of courage. I think that work right now is probably the most important work that you can do right now. Because if we're going to change our society, if we're going to change our community, if we're going to see, we have to be the change we want to see. You've heard that 100 times, but if we want to actually be the change we want to see, it takes a lot of work. It takes courage and it takes perseverance. And it's worth it. It's worth it. My coach the other day was laughing at me. I do have a coach. I do have people that I talk to. I don't live my life in isolation, and I'm encouraging you not to do that. And I do speak to my guides and my angels day, several times a day. And my coach was laughing at me. She said, you're making the opposite of a shit sandwich, which you have something good, something bad in between, and then something good on the other side. And you can kind of cope with the bad that's in between. And I make it bad on the outside, good in the middle, and then bad on the outside. So the good is surrounded by disappointment, by frustration, and by yucky things. And I don't always go as deep into the gratitude or appreciate what I've accomplished or see the movement forward, because I am still looking for the nonsense or the yucky stuff that's going to hurt me or blindside me or sabotage me. And I'm sabotaging my own self by doing that. So as I'm speaking to you about courage, I'm speaking about my pathway, my own self. If I need and want to have a soul level perspective that shows me how beautiful life can be and how beautiful life actually is, and have that soul perspective of how I am amazing and how I'm such a bad person after all. And I want to offer that to you, to say, hey, life has some pretty good miracles. I'm one of the miracles, and I'm pretty amazing myself. Not in a blow it out of proportion way, but in a elevating yourself way, a self-love way. Self-love is so important. We need to love and nurture and care for ourselves so that we can begin to see ourselves as a miracle, and we can connect with that divine source, because we can begin to trust that divine source to come into our hearts and into our awareness. Some key aspects of spiritual courage and perseverance. One is facing fears, having the courage to confront personal limitations and spiritual doubts, even when they are uncomfortable. That's one aspect. Another aspect is standing up for beliefs, the willingness to advocate for one's values and principles, even when it means going against the majority opinion. I've seen plenty of movies and plenty of TV shows and media where you have the bully and who's usually dressed nicer than everybody else and has their hair better than everybody else and has more what looks like self-confidence and assertiveness. And you want to flag around them or be around them to have that self-confidence, to have that beauty, to have that power, but they're bullies. And so the bully thing becomes infectious and then one person says, I'm not part of that group. And I don't want nothing to do with that group because it's not part of my morality. And then they get picked on by the bullies. We've all seen that scenario played out over and over and over in our lifetimes. And guess what? Joining the bully team is not the way to go, but being in your own integrity, being in your own power and your own strength, standing up for your beliefs that's the way to go. Resilience in trials is another key aspect of courage and perseverance, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges and viewing them as opportunities for spiritual growth. That's the resilience, is seeing it as an opportunity for spiritual growth. And that shifts you right out of being a victim to a situation or saying, I can't, or victimhood can freeze us. We can stand, our minds go blank. We go into a fight or flight kind of thing, which is normal. You go into it, then you get yourself out of it through resilience, say, what am I learning from here? What's really happening? What is the message here? Call somebody and talk it through. If you're an external person, go within and where's my strength here? And then move to your guidance, which I call moving to grace. And that's resilience. That's what brings the bounce back happen. Trusting in a higher power as part of the resilience, reliance on a divine guidance to support and navigate through difficult situations is key in courage and perseverance. Perseverance, I always thought of as white knuckling until your fingers have just bled out and cut up your palms. It's like you're holding on for dear life. And I'm just going to hang in there, but you're not hanging in there with other sources from spiritual sources, from inner resources, and from reaching out to balanced people in a community. The trust in the higher power will help you trust people who are at a higher vibration level and can walk with you on it. Not going back to the bullies, not going back to the lower thinking, not going back to the whole thing that started the problem to begin with. And the next key aspect to keep you into spiritual courage and perseverance is a positive attitude. Now, maintaining hope and optimism, even during challenging times, can be difficult. Perspectives and realities are very different things. Your perspective can tell you this is real. And that may not be true. Your perspective may be coming from, an inner wounded 3-year-old, or something like that. And so what you're perceiving is not true. And it's maybe exaggerating the possibilities that are in front of you, and really need to walk away from the perspective again and look through the eyes of God, look through the eyes of your soul, look through the eyes of a trusted friend. What are you seeing here? Because I'm seeing this and this. And if somebody can see the facts more from a more factual, clear place, because they're not looking through your perspective, you may get more information that's correct to say, oh, okay, this is not the bad I thought it is. It's the bad over here, but I know how to handle this, but I've made it into a situation that looks like this other thing, and I know I can't handle this other thing. So your perspective is telling you can't do it. Where once you get the facts down, it's like, wait a minute, it's handleable. I can handle this. And then you're moving forward, and that's courage, but that's also taking a moment to have a positive attitude, which is you're willing to change your perspective on what it is that you're seeing. You're willing to look for that, not a blind hope, but look at that place where you can take action and move forward, get unstuck. And when we're unstuck and we're moving forward and where you can take action, that's great. That's creative energy right there. And the more you use creative energy, the bigger the solution will become. It grows. where we're in fear and we're moving back, it gets smaller. But when we're leaning into with courage and resilience and perseverance, the creative opportunities grow and grow and grow. So some examples where spiritual courage and perseverance might be needed. And I'd like for everyone listening here, where do you need to have that spiritual courage? Where do you need to have perseverance in any part of your life? One example could be standing up for injustice, speaking out against wrongdoing, even when it could lead to social isolation. Social isolation is an incredible fear for anyone, because it feels like such a punishment, and it feels so unsafe because we're social beings. Standing up to social injustice and finding courage and the resilience, remember, we're not doing it alone. All the people in around you who will support you in that. So the social isolation will not be a reality. Serving others in difficult circumstances, providing support to those in need despite personal challenges. This could be so many things: helping out a friend, or helping out a person who maybe the help is a little bit beyond our reach, but we figure out how to make the reach, or helping a person who is unpopular, or helping a situation that is underfunded, because it's that thing is in social isolation as well, can be very, this is a sign of courage. It's a sign of, I'm looking at life from a different perspective. I'm going to stand up and check this out. When we're helping somebody, we're learning a lot. We're learning more about ourselves than we are about the person that we're serving or the situation that we're serving. A deep challenge for many is overcoming addiction, persisting through the process of recovering despite cravings and setbacks. And addiction can be so many things: drugs and alcohol, but it could be sugar, it could be different kinds of food, it could be persistently thinking a certain way. Could be an addiction because it's safer to go in that direction than it is to take the risk to go in a new direction. Addiction to relationships, certain types of relationships, you name it, it's there. But addiction is about sticking to something that's not good for us or not good for the group, sticking to something that overrides our sense of well-being. That's addiction. And getting out of that addiction takes inner thought, like, why am I doing this? Or what can I do to not do this? What can I replace this with? It takes a lot of inner introspection. It takes a lot of inner work, the Hermit and the Tarot card. And another thing that takes courage, and this is where I started with, is deepening one's spiritual practice, committing to a regular meditation or prayer, even when life gets busy. I forget is it the Dalai Lama or some meditative master was asked by one of his students, how long should I meditate? He goes, oh, about an hour a day. He goes, well, what if I'm too busy? Then 2 hours a day, which makes perfect sense, because if you're so busy, again, addiction, that it's overcoming your well-being, sitting on the cushion, as they call it, or meditating, will shift your perspective into something more balanced. And I say I meditate. Do I meditate 2 hours a day? Probably, but not 2 hours in a row. I keep checking back in with spirit. I keep using my breath to calm, to relax, until I feel that tingling of the flow of chi or life force energy moving through me as being more important than the thoughts and the worries that I have. And that's my practice. When my thoughts and my worries and my drive is out of balance with my well-being, that's when I stop, pull back. And it can take 5, 10, 20 minutes. And sometimes if it's really yucky and I'm in a series of days that I start the day with a meditation, and I'll say, where are my priorities? I'll ask myself, my spiritual committee, and then I'll work for a certain time, and then I step back, and then I do another meditation piece. Because we can be driven from outer sources saying, you should be doing this. And if you want to be successful at that, you would have to do this, this, and this, which is totally out of balance for yourself. But if you want to be successful in this, this, and this, the other teammate is your soul, is your guardian angel, is your spirits. So just want to bring that to you. Deepening one's spiritual practice, deepening your spiritual practice and meditating can help you find courage to grow that creative reality and get out of the negative perspective. Perseverance. Perseverance is a spiritual discipline, and it's developed baby steps at a time. You choose to persevere one day at a time. Sometimes you choose to persevere one step at a time, even one moment at a time. Each decision to trust your source, your inner source and your above source, and obey the intuitive guidance that you are getting leads to endurance. And your soul, your source, supplies more strength to you when you're stepping out. And one more step, the strength grows, the courage grows, the perseverance grows, which leads to even more spiritual awareness, spiritual growth, more understanding about yourself. So when you are wondering if you're on a hamster wheel and not going anywhere, you need to take a look at where your personal growth is. And if the personal growth isn't happening as you tread this hamster wheel, maybe you need to step back and say, am I moving forward with purpose, or I'm just putting my time hoping that something good will happen from it? Because there needs to be awareness, and there needs to be personal responsibility in every action and every step that you take. So what are some other ways that you can know that you're moving forward and you're not on the hamster wheel? There is a balance between putting in time and applying yourself to learn and grow. So many of us, I have done this in jobs. I have done this in so many situations where I put my time in until this is over. Oh, please have this be over soon. And I'll probably be in that situation again, and you'll probably be in that situation again. But what is the balance that you can achieve when you have to do this putting in time, when you're applying yourself, but you don't really feel like you're learning and growing? And I feel like it's attitude. It's attitude, and the great attitude of gratitude. Where spots in your life can you be grateful for? And then as you find these things that are grateful for, because it's nurturing you and it's helping you move forward and it's talking to you, and then you remember, train your brain to find more of this, things that make me happy. And when our attitude is always looking for the shortcut fall or the shortcoming or the disappointment, or the sadness or the pain, then we're telling our brains, go find more of this, because we have to be safe from this. So your attitude will make a huge difference in your ability to move forward and not be on a hamster wheel. Sometimes the hamster wheel, we build it. Sometimes we're making that hamster wheel because we're just stuck in this, I have to, and we're stubbornly trying to prove ourselves to something. I don't know what you're doing sometimes when I'm stubborn. I'm just, what am I doing to find out? Because it's easier than making up my mind and thinking it through or asking for guidance. I just know that this is the thing to do. Well, maybe yesterday it was the thing to do, but maybe there needs to be another baby step forward. Seeking higher guidance and signs for the universe will go a long way to helping you not so much build this hamster wheel as saying, yes, I'm stepping forward and there's a reason why I'm here, and maybe this reason will change over time, but right now this is the reason that I'm here in this situation. And in this situation, I'm learning this, I'm growing this, I'm trying, I'm putting some effort into this, and there's some learning here. And that's perfectly fine as long as you own it and as long as you're aware of what you're doing. Another piece to help you move forward is your faith. Not blind faith, but the faith that, yes, I am moving forward as best I can in this, and I will get guidance to move to another level, or maybe I just don't know yet, but I know I will know. But I'm going to keep my attitude positive. I'm going to continue to look for signs and signals from the universe. I'm going to keep my mentally healthy community close by. And I'm going to learn to trust myself, trust my own intuition, trust my relationships that are healthy. And I'm not talking about trusting out of stubbornness and blind loyalty to a given thought, because that's perspective. That's not reality checks. So when you hit the valley of despair, keep going, check in with your guidance. You are more than halfway there. I want to say that lots of times I have in my life, and you have in your life, when you're ready to give up, where you're just like, I'm done with this situation, and I'm done with trying to make this situation into a big thing, and I'm in this valley of despair. And usually that's when the civil twilight, it's the darkest before the dawn, but the sun is coming. So don't give up too soon. Ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for clarity. Give your efforts some time is another piece of staying in that positive perseverance resilience. Give it time. I've been at this for 10 hours, but really it's a 3-month project. Give your efforts time. Rest. Nurture yourself, care for yourself, pay attention to what your body's telling you. I need to take a break. I need to stand up and move around and not focus on this. I need to go for a walk, or I need to just change my perspective so that I can come back to this effort, to this courage, especially if it's a long-term thing. And say it's an illness of great pain and great suffering, and you're doing the best you can, but all of a sudden I can't do this anymore. And so you rest, and you bring those gratitude, those beautiful things, bring them closer to you, and just rest in the miracle of life, rest in the good things about life. And so give your efforts time and be patient with yourself. And another thing that really, really helps is learn with your soul's help, with your guardian angel's help, what is your inner voice saying? What are some of your pessimistic thoughts, your parts in yourself that you've got the positive, encouraging parts, and then we got the negative parts. We have the wounded children, and we have the cranky adults within ourselves that are in our unconscious mind that are informing us that life really stinks and life isn't worth it. And with your guardian angel self, help to discern what those voices are. So it's like, oh yeah, that's you again. I know you're tired. And then have a voice that is your higher guidance and your soul saying, one more step, Nancy, or one more step, one more thought, one more idea, you can get this. But your inner voices I'm not talking about your inner spark, I'm talking about those, inner wounded children that are saying, wah, wah, wah. No. Have your soul help you sort those out. And an angel that will help you do that is Archangel Michael. He's the slayer of dragons. It's got masculine energy, and the slayer of dragons are the dragons within ourselves that aren't telling us the truth. Not that I'm making dragons bad, but those demons inside of us that are telling us we can't do it. Archangel Michael is amazing at sorting that out. And but who's taking over your life? Who's telling you can't do it? Who's telling you you're a loser? Your inner team is kind of going rebel on you. They're going rogue on you, and you're in charge of them. Bring them back in and say you guys need to learn. This inner team that's rebelling, try for you to learn as much as I'm learning. You're growing as much as I'm growing, because that's actually the ascension process. When you have the courage to tell even your inner self, you're going the wrong way. You're sabotaging me. Knock it off. We're going in this direction. And if you don't want to go in this direction, we can let you go. Kind of standing your ground with your own self is a courageous act. And rest in the universe's timing. Everything has a season. Everything has a timing. Every effort, every growth and learning has its own cycle. So rest in the universe, wisdom, I want to be really careful not to go religious on you, but the higher power's timing, your soul's timing, because you could be learning and growing into the answer, and the answer just isn't available to you just yet at this point. And so that's where the trust and the faith come in. You're working towards the ability. You're working like anyone who's been injured and doing physical therapy, there's only so much you can do after the wound, and as you work every day, a little bit until you are strong enough to do that running, or to do that leap, or to climb that ladder the way you used to. But if you do it too soon, you'll hurt yourself again. So again, courage to stay the course in the process of unfolding. So trust in the process. You signed up with Source, you signed up with Soul, and they have a lot of wisdom and they have a lot of help, and you have a lot of living and growing to do. and stick with the living and growing and give it to God. My favorite thing to do is give it to God. And I'm not kicking it to the curb or putting it in the trash barrel or suppressing it when I give it to God. I'm going to give this struggle to God, and something's going to come back at me that says, here's where you got to go. Here's what you're going to do. And it may take a little bit of time, but it will come, it will show up. So when self-assessment, like that going inward and you're going to see, is this right? Is this wrong? Once you go in, when self-assessment sabotages you, you need to, are you expectations based on perspective, what you think should happen? I'm going to believe in God if God does this. Why does God let little kids get sick? So if little kids are getting sick, I'm not going to believe in God. Your expectations are sabotaging you from having a relationship with the infinite intelligence, love, and light. And you're not really embracing that this is a human experience with all of its problems and all of its joy. So don't skip out on analyzing, am I sabotaging myself by my expectations and my belief system? Is the reality that I'm perceiving right now coming from an old belief pattern and expectations? And maybe you're not far enough along to see the new big picture. Maybe you're still living from the old beliefs and perspectives, and you just need to walk another 10 yards or another mile so that you could see the new big picture, the big picture that tells you the truth. What inner map are you following? Is it the inner map that dad left behind or mom left behind? And that's going to kind of, my mom was pretty skeptical. If I'm following my mom's map, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be disappointed and angry. But if I'm following the inner map that my soul's giving me, now there's some hope there. There's some positivity there. Expectations can be your enemy. You've heard that expectations lead to the road to hell. And it's really hard to be courageous, resilient, and have perseverance when we think we're on the road to hell. So let's maybe, as you get more and more discouraged, take a look at those expectations and then set them aside and go to, I need some help with my resilience. I need from spirit and from my inner spark, something different, and stay still. As I say, and that's my meditation. I'm staying still until I feel that flow begin to build up within me. Perseverance is the ability to endure and persist through all challenges and difficulties and setbacks, and that you can be steadfast, you can be determined, you can have resilience. So don't let yourself sabotage your forward movement by insisting that you be in that same stuck energy that you were in before. So creating a mindset of joy. And this is why the gratitude is such a powerful tool, a joyful mindset that nurtures you and encourages you and feeds your resilience. A mindset of joy in the middle of misery is a tricky thing to do, but you'll be surprised when things are really, really low and down. I remember having the flu so bad, and I was so dry, and I was so dehydrated, I couldn't keep anything down. And then one day I took a sip of water, and it stayed down. The joy that I felt, in the middle of misery, the joy that I felt by having that water in my mouth, slowly, I put warm water when you have the flu, and just let it trickle into all the dry spaces in my mouth until I finally could swallow it and stay down, was pure joy. Right? Think about this. And I feel that creating a community around you that are your people, where you are seen and that you can laugh with, is really important. So take some time to do that. Take some time to look for those people that belong in your world, in your club, in your circle, and persevere with prayer. I can't say that enough. Prayer is a powerful tool for seeking spirits and source guidance. Prayer helps you with, you don't feel strong, you say that prayer and the strength starts trickling in a little bit maybe. And maybe the prayer and the lack of is telling you that you're really tired. You're really, really tired and you take a break, and it's okay to take a break. There are enough resources in the entire universe to help you on your way. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of resources on this planet for every single person. But when we get into that place of fear, we think the resources are really, there's not enough. So focus on the internal, so the prayer can help you focus on eternal perspective, can help you move from there's not enough to there's plenty. Fix your eyes on the hope and the vision that your soul and your higher guidance through your intuition have presented to you. Keep moving on that, and remember that everything's temporary. Trials are temporary. Everything is going to be all right. And in the end, in the big picture, in the end, we're going back to spirit. We're going back to heaven. And even this life is temporary, is what I'm trying to say. So as much as we take our lives very seriously, sometimes we need to ease up on that and say, no matter what, it's going to be okay. Seriously. Bill W. This is something I wrote. I looked it up. But Bill W. is he made the AA, the 12 steps. He's the one that was the alcoholic who he was in despair because he couldn't overcome his alcoholism and it was destroying his life until one day he had a divine intervention. And through this divine intervention, he was able to get sober, and he was able to move with that divine intervention to create a program or to create a movement forward for to other people who were in alcoholism, serious alcoholism. So he wrote the 12-step process, the 12-step recovery program, and he considered each of his 12 steps of the 12-step recovery program to be spiritual principles in and of themselves. And he outlined the spiritual principles that were behind each step. And as you practice these principles, there's 12 of them, and I'm going to read them to you. If you practice these principles in your day-to-day life as best you can, wherever you are, with vigilance and willingness, your life will change. Your life will shift. Where it will shift to will be something positive, something that maybe you can't even guess right now. But if you walk that path, it's going to be adventurous, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be very positive and hopeful. So the first principle that he talks about is honesty, fairness, and straightforwardness of conduct. Adhering to the facts, not to the perceived facts, is the first principle. The second principle is hope, to expect with desire something on which hopes are centered, something positive, something spiritual, something nurturing, something that leads to well-being. Hope can be tricky and confused with expectations. The answer may be yes, the answer may be no, but it will be aligned with my highest and best. So the hope is focusing on the highest and best, not the actual how the situation should be cared for. So hope, let's go. Faith, complete confidence, belief, and trust in a higher power every single day, every single moment, or bring yourself back into the moment when you have lost yourself a little bit and say, there is a higher power helping me. This is the basis of hope, is this faith. This is where hope needs to return to. Not hope that if we spend another $800,000 on this new chemo drug, we will beat cancer, which it could possibly very well be true, but it could not be true either. So we don't have false hopes and stuff. We want to have faith, and we want to have guidance from our highest power to say, this is the best move or this is not the best move. Courage is the fourth principle. Firmness of mind and will in extreme difficulty, having the mental or moral strength to withstand fear or depravity. Depravity would be those cookies that I want to eat. And fear is, if I don't eat them now, somebody else will. And the courage to say no, because there's plenty of good food in the world and I can access it anytime I choose to. So courage, the firmness of mind. Fifth is integrity, the quality or state of being complete or undivided, soundness within the self, integrity. So the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. The ego base is aligned with the awareness, is aligned to the soul. That's integrity. It's integration. That's the pathway to ascension, to that enlightenment that we're also looking for. And number 6 is willingness, prompt to act or respond, accepted and none of choice without reluctance, willingness, a positive attitude that needs to be done. It's going to be in the highest and best to get it done. I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to really enjoy doing it. I'm bringing my joy, my happiness into, even if it's just mopping up a spill on the floor, I'm bringing my joy to it because I like love my life, and I'm going to cherish my life and nurture my life. The seventh principle is humility. We could all use a little bit of this, not proud or haughty, not arrogant or assertive, a clear and concise understanding of what we are, followed by a sincere desire to become what we can be. I'm here. I'm accepting where I am. I'm here. I was telling you I was here and blown up, but truly I am here. And I'm hoping to be that bigger person later, but I need to give it some time because I'm not quite there yet. That's humility. That's honesty. That's aligned with integrity. So the next eighth principle is love. Unselfish concern that freely accepts another in loyalty and seeks his good to hold dear. You're seeing the best in other people. You're seeing the best in yourself. And you're loving that. You're holding love to call forward that best in that other person as you're calling it forward to have the best in you. That's love. That is very reflective of the divine unconditional love we experience from Source, who embraces us in all of our phases. So number 9 is discipline, training that corrects, molds, or perfects the mental faculties or moral character to bring under control, to train or develop by instruction. Well, learn what you need to do and stick to it and do it. And if you're still not sure on what you need to do, educate yourself to find out what's the next step or what's the subtle, and stick to it. Looking for a shortcut because you know better, looking for a shortcut because I just want to do an easier job of it will not give you the quality that you're looking for, and the quality and the courage and the persistence of getting through or getting past the struggle that you're in. Number 10 is patience and perseverance, steadfast despite oppositions or adversity, or people are arguing with you. Why are you doing it that way? Why are you bothering to do it? Just why are you spending so much time with it? And just going past that, sticking to what you know you need to do anyway. Able or willing to bear and persisting in an understanding in spite of counter influences. Sometimes when we think we know better and we're stubborn and we're making enemies, well, that's one thing. But if we know something is true, even though you're the only one in the community, you're the only one in the room that understands that this is true and these things need to happen, that is patience and persistence. That you find out the house is mold. Everyone's got headaches. Nobody feels good. Everyone's complaining, and you say, there's mold in this house. We got to get it out. But it's going to cost money. It's going to take time. We have to get out of the house for a little while. Well, why are you bothering with that stuff? You know that you're over exaggerating. You're this, you're that, because they don't want to leave the house and they don't want to open up the walls. And you very persistently move them out and clean the mold out of the house, make it a safe house, make it a healthy house. And then they come in and all of a sudden their headaches are gone, their well-being is better. You've stuck it out in a very unpopular way. So patience and perseverance. Now, and awareness is number 11, and I feel awareness is key. Our own self-awareness is the bridge between our unconscious ego and our higher subconscious self, our soul. And awareness is about being alive and alert and vigilant and observing what's happening. Awareness isn't going to just go into a perceptive thing and say, this is this and this is that, because I knew it was last year. Now, awareness just puts everything aside and stays in the present moment. And awareness is key here. It's key. I think it should be number 1. And the last final one is service, to be helpful to others, contributing to others' welfare. Teaches us about ourselves more than it teaches us about the person that we're serving. Useful labor that does not produce a tangible commodity, which is service. So that is what is it? Talks about, I'm doing this for this particular result. that's going to serve me. That's not service. I am doing this because I really want to see this other person excel or thrive or move from a place of non-well-being to a place of well-being. That's an act of service, selfless service. And it's very important step to take when we're on a healing path and a healing journey. So this month or this week, whatever this month of time, pick a month, a week, a day, time frame, and what might be inspiring you to move forward. What is calling you? What might you want to change or create, knowing that you already have the resilience to get through whatever it is that you need to get through to get to that outcome that you're dreaming of. Just think about that, journal on it, talk to yourself about it. And what kind of courage would you need to put into place? What kind of perseverance and discipline needs to be there? And how are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to create the resilience to be able to do that? So sometimes when we make resolutions or we decide to do something, we don't step back and say, what needs to happen here for me to be able to do that? And so nurturing yourself into that place of resilience so that you can fund the courage, you can fund the discipline, and you can fund that perseverance. And the perseverance doesn't move into stubbornness and suffering. It's actually a movement forward. Whatever it is, knowing that within you, you already hold the courage and the resilience to do it. So give it a go. Give it your best shot. And what are the angels that can help us with this work? I love talking about the angels, but I don't know that I talk about them enough. Like I started to talk about Archangel Michael will help you not be your own worst enemy. Your guardian angel who knows your life's plan is so patiently waiting for you to say, can you give me a hand on this? Can you help me through on this? I ask my guardian angel. I don't ask my guardian angel enough, I'll be honest with you, but I do ask for quite a bit. Sometimes it's just asking for understanding, help, resources. Another angel that I work with is Archangel Gabriel to light my way, to light my path, especially when I'm doing soul contract clearing, but anytime really when I can't see in front of me all that well. Archangel Gabriel will light the path and will light the highest path for you going forward. Archangel Uriel is the minister of transformation and change. Uriel will bring you to the point where you realize you need to make a change. Uriel will walk you through the transformational process. Archangel Azrael is also a beautiful angel to call on, the angel of death. And this angel is because there's something inside you that needs to die, that you need to let go of so that your spirit can move forward. Azrael and Uriel are very powerful angels to help you with that. Metatron holds the gates to the Akashic records, the keys to the gates to the Akashic records. Metatron is God's word straight into your ear so that you can understand it. And his brother or her sister, Sandalphon, her sister, masculine, feminine, get shifted up with the angels. Sandalphon is your prayers to God's ears and interprets your calls to the source, which is energy, to say, I'm in trouble here, I need some help. And Metatron and Sandalphon work together really well when you're praying and when you want to learn and grow and when you want to access your higher self. Ask them to help you. Shamuel is the angel of joy and excitement and beauty and sees the divine in all things. If you can't see the divine, Archangel Shamuel will help you see the divine and help you move forward. And there's so many more. Haniel, the angel Haniel is a magnificent angel for love of life, for love of projects, for love of beauty, writing, anything creative, painting, music, and it goes on. Israfel is a beautiful angel for music and muse inspiration. So call on your angels, and if you can't remember all the angels' name, your guardian angel and whichever angel is here to help me. And for whatever you need, I need courage, or I need resilience, or I'm really stuck in seeing this a certain way. Is there another way to see this? Is there another way for me to perceive this person? Is there another way for me to interact with this person that doesn't hurt me so much, where I can hold their divinity up high, but I'm not going to play into their meanness, that kind of thing. So many things to ask. So whatever you have decided that you need to be courageous on, ask for help and set yourself up to be successful in the challenges and the changes that you need, and ask you so that you can be courageous and you have the resilience to persevere and discipline yourself so that you could create the beauty that you're desiring and that you really want. So this is what I have for you now. I hope that this has helped you or brought you some kind of inspiration. And I want you to know that you're not alone and that their spirit is with you. And all you have to do is ask. There are people around. The universe has provided you with people with like-minded who are really wanting to go with you on this same path, that you could help them and they could help you. So for now, I want you to go forward in courage, to go forward in grace, perseverance, and discipline, as you understand what it is you need to change in your life, or what you need to stand up to in your life, and go forward inch by inch, baby step by baby step, but with the power of the miracle that is you. So thank you so much for listening through this, and I will see you on the next one.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.